Hello.
Hi.
My wife is convinced that champagne can go off, so this is known as the we're drinking it before it goes off.
Yeah, you can't keep shit. It's not red wine. You don't age this shit. You gotta drink it.
And if anybody corrects her in the comments, you'll be banned from this channel. I'm Scott, that's Nelle. Welcome to Gunpowder, Fiction and Plot.
And it's Friyay Reads. Ready?
Ready? Fuck off work week.
Big ears.
Cheers. Not that big.
Oh, that's good shit.
Yeah. Alright. So, we usually start this off with a shout out.
Who's our shout out?
So our shout out is David Wiley. David has...
A beard?
I was going to say a new channel. David really likes like really old historical things, like not like Victorian classics. That's like, you know, a regular toddler for the stuff that David reads. He's like into like Beowulf and the Viking sagas.
All that shit that you try and read and then hate.
Yeah, that's it. The shit that I think I like and then don't. David actually likes that. And like Dante and...
Nice.
Check his channel out. I'll put a link in the show notes. He's also into fantasy and like just like a general hodgepodge of other...
Books and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, when you say to a reader here likes one genre, that's really just a dumb thing to say, because...
We don't like people like that.
Well, then they like, read, like, 5 different genres, and you're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, it's like Sean, the book maniac, reads one genre.
You're looking to start an argument here.
With Sean, always.
Let's talk about the books we read.
Woo! Oh, I didn't read any.
You didn't read any?
Well, I didn't finish any. Were we talking about books we finished?
Books were finished.
I didn't finish any books.
No,
well,
you
I finished one, but it's not really a book. It's a short story.
Speaking of short stories, I finished Shut Up, You Pretty. I picked this because you read it and you liked it.
It was good.
Yeah. This is a collection of short stories. They're all
good.
all good.
I felt like they were all good. Did you feel like they were all good?
Well, I feel like calling this a collection of short stories is a lie. And it was really easy to rate this collection as a whole.
Yeah.
And I don't know who is believing that it is a collection of short stories and not a complete novel.
I believed it.
Yeah, sure. I definitely didn't believe that they were all the same characters in every short story, and these were just glorified chapters. But I really like this as an exploration of sexuality and happiness and poverty and.
Yeah.
I just thought it was wonderful. It is about...
I think if you're expecting a novel, you'll be disappointed. Don't expect a novel. It is short stories. They are completely, like, fragmented. Yeah. There's no arc. Really.
It's about a woman who is she from the Congo? And she emigrates to Canada as a child, and it is her sort of settling in, starts as a young teenager and progresses for a bit from there. Short stories. Not at all the same characters.
All the same characters, but just short stories. I don't know why he can't wrap his head around this. What's next?
Alright, next I read Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk.
I half participated in that and didn't see much hope for it.
Yeah. If you have watched the movie, that's nice. Just stick to that. When I put this on my Goodreads, all I could see is people giving it either 5 or 1 star, and I kind of got excited about the book then because I'm willing to take a 50-50 gamble on a 5 or a 1 star. And...
I mean, you're risking a lot with that gamble. You could end up talking about, like Amy had to, in her review, eyeballs and vaginas.
Eyeballs and vaginas. I wonder what book that is we're talking about.
I didn't talk about it, Amy talked about it.
Yeah. Well, look, this is the movie was quite heavily lifted from the start of this book. The twists in the movie were signposted in the novel.
Yeah, it was not a twist. It was like no shit.
Yeah, it was really obvious. So the movie essentially made the storytelling better. I don't know what Palahniuk's point is to like heavily criticize capitalists through the mouthpiece of absolute fuckwits, but I suspect that I might agree with a lot of what Palahniuk has to say, but that probably doesn't make him less of a fuckwit. Is that fair? I don't know.
I'm waiting for you to like have another you answer you, a la Pay, with this particular rant you're on.
Yeah, I should, because it's a Fight Club thing. I should do a review where I'm talking to myself.
And you look like Brad Pitt.
And I look like Brad Pitt.
And one where you're talking to yourself and you look like Ed Norton.
Yeah,
Can I be involved in that video?
I feel like I've already done this video for the wrong book, actually.
Yeah, but you didn't look like Brad Pitt or Ed Norton. Alright, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was like average to below average. The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. You really like this book, don't you, Nelle?
Yeah, I do.
I can't understand why.
It's not my fault, you're stupid.
I didn't find anything about this book bad, but I just don't have anything nice to say about it. Like, the things that people likes about books, this didn't have them in it. It had no characters, it had no storyline, it had no setting, it didn't make me feel emotions, I didn't feel connected to anything, it didn't make me think original thoughts. It, like, a guy had an accident, he had amnesia, and he read poetry to a nurse.
Sounds a lot like your problem, and not the book's problem. Just saying.
Yeah, it just, like, completely devoid of any merit. But,
whatever, you like the Wasp Factory. Speaking of devoid of merit.
And that's my first of 2 one-star reads this week, which has been a productive week. Djeli Clarke, A Dead Djinn in Cairo. We audiobooked this together on the way to work. This is the sequel to the one that the prequel to the one he's just released.
There's 2 prequels. There's another one that we should listen to next week when we go to work.
Yeah. It's a short story, like it's a fantasy action thing with djinns and angels and necromancers and things.
Steampunky, maybe?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Something like that.
I think I would have liked this better if I had have read the book that he's just released. If I had have already read that and had been apprised of the characters instead of trying to learn who the characters were.
Yeah, if this was an add-on rather than your introduction.
Yeah, but for me this was like, everything was so quick. It just sort of relied on this good versus evil narrative to like put characters in roles, which I suspect wasn't...
I think that's a bit of a simplification.
Yeah, a little bit, but...
I think that... I mean, it's clearly a short story, so you're not getting a novel's worth of character arc. But I think the characters are intriguing enough that I want to read the next thing that he writes with the characters in. I think this was fast-paced and action-y, like Ring Shout was. It did not have the sort of moral exploration conundrum situation that was going on in Ring Shout, and it didn't have... its blurring of good and evil and good presenting as evil was really very simplified. And I think that is because of the length. I thought it was really enjoyable. Like, I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think I said to you when we finished it that it would have been better if he had have made it into a novel and...
Well, and it sounds like he
He
sort of has. I don't know whether he's made this into a novel or whether he's just...
I think he's kept the characters.
I think the central characters are having a different adventure.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Yeah, so I guess pick it up if you... I guess...
I think it's a good taster for Djeli Clarke's style.
Yeah.
I think you get an idea of the kind of book that you're going to get if you're nervous about picking up a full-length one. But Ring Shout is very short, so just read that.
Or what's the one he's released? What's the Cairo Djinn one? I don't know.
No, Djinn Master or something.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever it's called, we'll put it up on the screen. That's 400 pages.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably about the length that this book could have been to properly develop the characters and do the things that I think it was missing in a novella. But I am judging a novella as a novel.
It's not even a novella. It's 32 pages. It's a short story.
Oh.
Yeah, your expectations are ridiculous.
Fair enough. The next one I have is The Memory of Love by Aminatta Forma. This is a book based in Sierra Leone after the Civil War. It tells the story of three men. One man loves a fourth man's wife and is infatuated with her. Then we have him telling this story about this woman to his psychologist, who is an actual character in this novel. And then there's a third character who is a doctor or a surgeon in this novel. I audiobooked this, and I would have DNF'd this, except I'm doing a little project, and I didn't want to DNF it for the project, so I suffered for my experiment that I am putting together. The writing of it's a style that I just don't like. It's overly descriptive without the payoff, like describing things like spiral bound books that don't actually have much of an impact on the characters or the plot or anything is not very nice as far as I'm like it's pretty for no point. But my biggest problem was actually the appalling quality of the audiobook on script. If I'm listening to this while I'm driving and I'm really struggling to hear it over the wind noise and I've got it turned up to maximum, it's not recorded loud enough, and then the voice actor is dropping his voice for certain characters to even lower. Like, I'm struggling when he's talking loudly, when he's talking softly.
And you just got no hope.
I moved my chair to get my head closer to the speaker in the car.
Sounds dangerous.
I played with everything that I could. It was not loud enough, and that's script's problem, and I really struggled. This was a hard book for me because I find that language boring, and then I couldn't hear the book anyway, and I just struggled through this and I hated it. So, yeah, maybe not necessarily the book's fault. Maybe that is a warning for anybody who wants to audiobook that.
Yeah.
But lastly, and I finished on a good note, Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I know that Sally Rooney has a sort of a cult hate following on booktube amongst certain people, and quite frankly, those people are wrong. I know she's often like, her characters are considered like female Holden Caulfields and stuff, and I just don't get it. I think she's brilliant. This is a book about 4 people. 3 of them are women, 1 of them is a man. Frances is in love with all of these characters and hates them all at once. Frances starts off in love with Bobby. They are dating. Bobby is a lesbian. Frances is bisexual. They then meet Melissa, who is considerably older, and Melissa's husband, whose name I have forgotten. And Frances falls in love with the husband and pursues him. I just thought that this was such a wonderful character portrayal of what was a clearly mentally ill characters, and the conversations they had about socialism and capitalism and religion and misunderstandings with people coming from different angles but actually agreeing was lovely. And I was down for this. This was better than Normal People, I thought. I really liked the little bit at the end where the characters from Normal People were in this. Considering this was before Normal People, I thought that was cool. Makes me want to reread Normal People to see if they come back. And by character, I just mean Marianne from Normal People, who is the protagonist. But I've only read 2 Rooney books. I think she's only released 2. I think she's got her 3rd one coming out later this year. And they're both 5 stars. And I just...
I have to add that to my hurry it up pile.
Yeah. And I think this is the better one of the 2. But
It's not the one I own, though.
It's not the one you own. But I know lots of people will be sitting here cringing and go, really, Scott, Sally Rooney? And yeah, really, I think she's great. I really liked it. People will say the characters are unrealistic and all of this sort of stuff. But you're picking faults and it's pish posh.
You're
great.
Pish posh.
Yeah, I'm getting defensive because I know that there was like 7 or 8 of my friends on Goodreads that had read this book and nobody had rated it higher than a 3, and I'm like 5 stars.
Right.
So I am prepared to have people go no, but yeah. I think there's a line in this, and I think that this is one of the best lines I've ever had, and I want to read it out or just repeat it. Yeah, I'll have sex with you, but know that I'm doing it ironically.
Okay.
I thought that was really funny, but it was so, like, it captured a generation, and it was so sad after it was funny that it was so good. Yeah. All right, now, what are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading... I'm like 10 pages in to the Radium Girls because that was my palate cleanser, I decided. After a bit of a trot of...
You read some miserable books, so you thought you'd read the Radium Girls.
So I thought I'd read the Radium Girls.
Yeah.
And then I'm also about 10 pages into The Parcel, which was what I actually wanted to read next. But I was just on a trot of Grimm. And then I got interrupted by the arrival of Daryl, which is a new release written by a trans woman, and it's about a man who enjoys being cuckolded. I basically bought it for an experiment. I did not really know what I was in for, and it's so far fucking brilliant. And
that sounds awesome.
I'm really excited to continue with it. So that's what I'm reading. I'm doing a bit of a Shaun the Book Maniac though. I've got the urge to pick up another book and just like start something else.
Do you have 17 on the go?
Not yet, but I think that maybe we'll talk about it next week and see how many books I've actually finished and how many I've started.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm also currently reading The Parcel. I just have no desire to read this book fast.
I don't, and I think that's one of my reasons for wanting to add a couple more books in. The Parcel and Radium Girls, both of them, I want to be a bit slower about, I think.
Yeah. I have been, like, because that's our book club book for May, and we run the book club.
And it's
the
4th of June.
The 4th of June.
Sorry, book club.
The other one I am going on with is, again, it was one that I was going on with last week that I'm deliberately going slow with. This one I'm intentionally going slow because the author is problematic. It is The Three-Body Problem.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, yeah. What's on your agenda to pick up in the coming week?
I want to pick up The Vegetarian because that is our June book club book, and I don't want to... I know I'm going to finish The Parcel quite late, and I don't want to create a snowball effect, so I want to pick up The Vegetarian. But I also have a bunch of books that keep calling my name, and I don't know if I can resist.
Yeah. You should pick up some Sally Rooney.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But there's a lot on this, really. I've got a shelf of quite short ones that I've highlighted as being quite short. And one of them is that one, Amateur, by Thomas Page McBee, who is the first trans man professional boxer. And that's memoir, and I'm super keen to get to that. And there's a bunch of things that are sort of on my radar for Pride Month, and there's a lot. I'm a bit shiny things this week.
We need to go back, because you totally lied. You have finished a book this week.
Which I finished.
You finished Passing.
No, I finished that last week.
Nah, because last week you're like, everybody's going to mock me.
Oh, because I was halfway through. I finished Passing. There we go. I finished Passing. It was fucking, it knocked the air out of me. Everyone says that the end knocks the air out of you, and I thought I had it all predicted, and I was wrong. It just, holy fuck. Read it.
Holy fuck, read it? That's your review of it?
That is my review of Passing. Holy fuck, read it. There's a lot of complicated stuff about race that I really want to talk about with a bunch of people who I don't have to worry about spoilers with. Because I found the judgment of the character who didn't pass towards the character who wasn't choosing to pass towards the character who was choosing to pass as white. I found that really interesting, especially when she was speaking to a friend who was too dark to pass, and she said that she often passed for convenience but never for social interactions. And I'm like, I think I would find that more annoying.
Picking and choosing.
Like that she's like, oh, I'll do it so that I can get in the right line for theatre tickets, but not so I can hang out with the bigot over there. Like, that's actually the cooler advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm like, good on you.
Yeah, totally. As a white person, I'm like, good on you. But as a person who might be, I don't know, jealous or put out by the other black character, I felt like was like,
yeah, she's saying go stick your Mercedes up your ass.
Yeah, legitimately. Also, they were all very like well off.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's like a lot of conversation to be had about how much does poverty play into the kind of just complete void of privilege that black people seem to experience or documented experiencing in America. How much does that change when you have money?
Yeah, I think that
I think it changes. Like, I think that in passing it changes a lot. But whether that's a reality or a fiction, I don't know.
I think that we talk about like education of students in schools and all of these sort of, quotas and all of that. But if you want to do something to improve equality, not just for race, but for gender and sexuality, etc., you can destroy capitalism. Eat the rich.
For a moment, I thought you were going to say give everyone money instead of destroy capitalism, and I was like, what's wrong with you? It's alright, it's just my brain's version of you that's an idiot.
I mean, yeah, also universal basic income is a decent move as well.
Yeah. No, I found it was just... Passing is so good, and it's 94 pages. Read it.
A lot of the themes in Passing, I think, are discussed in her other book, Quicksand, and I think better discussion in Quicksand.
I would be interested to read that. Passing is clearly very short, but it's just like the impact of that end is pretty phenomenal. But so much packed into, also so much about husband-wife relationships and power in that dynamic.
Mm. Yeah. All right. Again, I don't really have a TBR for next week. I'm not really planning on doing anything. I've had it with readathons and
it's Pride Month. It's gonna.
But all last year I was like, oh, Caribathon was so good. I can't wait to do Groupathon. And we've got to Groupathon, I'm like, no. And Pride Month, I really want to... I have got a whole bunch of LGBT plus books on my TBR for the year.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity to get to them. And I'm like, no, if
you need a bit of a mood read.
If I happen to pick up like a Marlon James book right now or something, which would hit both those nails on the head nicely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. I would totally read a Marlon James book right now. But I think I'm a bit done in general with readathons.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they can be fun, but when they stop being fun and they start being stressful, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with readathons. Also with buddy reads. I fucking love buddy reads, but half the time I get stressed out in the middle of it.
No, you just love talking to people we like on Voxer. You actually hate buddy reads. You just like the other people. You like who we buddy read with.
I mean, that's probably true.
Yeah. Yeah. It totally is. Yeah.
I want to know what they think about the books too. I just don't want to read it at the same time as you. Is that okay? Can we do that? Can we do a disjointed buddy read? When you read a book that I've already read or something and then we talk about it? So, I can't be the one we're waiting for. That's what I'm saying.
If anybody out there would like to do a buddy read with Nelle, pick a date that you're free. Nelle would tell you what book she's just finished. You can then go and haul that book and read it. And
then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, she's down for a conversation. Comment below
if you would like to become the first member of the society which I run autocratically.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. You don't need to have a whole month. You can have whatever time period you'd pick.
I'm sorry that I'm not. I've used up all my commitment being married.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I've got.
Well. Yeah, I don't have a joke.
I was waiting for I'll just leave you then, or something completely unfunny.
Well, that's 5 days of the week. What do you do with the other 2? Yeah. All right. Community question. Do we have a community question?
Do you hate buddy reading? That's my community question.
There's a whole tag on buddy reading going around at the moment.
I feel like my relationship with buddy reading is probably more complicated than most people.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Is it straightforward for you people? Tell me. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the end of our rather disjointed... Would you believe that was our first drink?
Speak for yourself.
If you're new here, please subscribe, like, comment.
Teach my husband how to pour champagne.
I poured it exactly how I wanted to pour it. At the rate that the bubbles were evaporating.
I love you. Bye.